Hello traders, Cousin Vinny coming to you on Sunday the 20th of April, Easter Sunday, with a look at the week ahead and a quick watch list. Looking at the comp, we've been talking about this possible head and shoulders pattern for over a couple of weeks now. We had this broadening pattern develop over the last couple of months, and we currently are bouncing off of the support level or neckline down here around the 39.50 level. We have retraced up to the 382, and we could conceivably get back up to the 50%, maybe the 618, before we see this right shoulder culminate in the seasonality trade that I'm anticipating, which completes around the beginning of May. So I'm anticipating a couple more weeks of upside, but that doesn't mean that's what's going to occur. Looking at the industrials, we have this support level that we have found once again where we didn't break new lows. We tested it at the lower Bollinger Band and moved off of same this past week. We look like we have a MACD cross coming, and stochastics rebounded off of an older sold level. The New York Composite, the NYA, 1,867 stocks in this index, found support here at the 50% retracement of these current pivots here at 1732.47 and these highs. We've been to this area before, came down and tested twice again like we saw on the industrials, and we're moving off of this level with RSI back above 50. The high-low indicator is moving sideways. We'd like to see this turn back up, and MACD is giving us a cross in the near future. Russell broke down below its channel line, came down and tested this area of previous low. We held off of that area, so technically we have a higher low, and we need to see how far this retraces back up over the coming weeks. Going into May, we have a MACD cross coming, and stochastics was oversold and did bounce. CCI did give us a buy signal last week, so we'll continue to watch the Russell as we go into this week. Assuming that a resumption of the risk-on trade could carry us a little bit higher in this possible shoulder, head, and right shoulder scenario that may be playing out over the next couple of weeks, considering seasonality into May being somewhat bullish. Looking at the S&P 500 chart, these vertical lines are indicative of May and what transpired afterwards back as far as 2010, 2011, which we saw a pretty major sell-off, 20% correction, and then again in 2012, 2013, 8 and 10%. And we're seeing a bounce off of CCI off of the midline here, as we saw previously in late January, occurring again. So we want to see this get back up above the 100 line, but suffice to say, with the weekly candle that we saw last week, we pretty much negated the down week previously. We want to see this continue to move higher towards this upper trend line over the next couple of weeks going into May. And the daily chart of this S&P 500 doesn't look too bad. We came down and tested this lower trend line down at the 50% retracement level and rebounded. We have a Kirby level here that we're trying to get back above and test these recent highs. Most of the indicators are in the oversold territory or areas where you want to buy. MACD's crossing, so we're looking pretty decent here, and note the number of stocks that were below their 50-period moving average has bottomed and is turning back up. Looking at bonds for a moment, this is a chart of the 10-year yield, TNX, noting these higher lows and this area of resistance up here at 2.8% level that we tested a few times and we're charging towards going into the next couple of weeks. Looking at AGG, the Aggregate Bond Fund, Barclays, we had a pretty nasty candle on Friday, but we came down and pulled back to breakout for the most part, a level where we broke out of in late February, and saw this handle build of a larger cup and handle with a smaller cup and handle built inside that we pointed out over the last few months as we were trading bonds higher. Looking at TLT as well, we saw that trend line that was broken back in January. We saw the pocket pivot, and prices continue to just meander higher over the last few months since January, with moving averages continue to move higher as well. We could see a test of the 20 period. Currently we're testing the 10 EMA on the daily. IEF, the 7 to 10 year Treasury Bond Fund, pretty much the same kind of scenario. We have this big curvy bar here. We're coming down to test. We could see a bounce coming into the next couple of weeks. Also be mindful of the carry trade, DBV. This is a nice thing to watch if you want to capitalize on the carry trade. We have a nice flag here, and we're testing the lows of this flag. We could conceivably come down and test this trend line where we broke out in March with MACD crossing to the downside. So keep an eye on a carry trade. Anything lower is bearish for stocks, and a bounce and move higher is bullish for stocks. So just keep that in mind. So let's take a look at some stocks and a watch list for the coming week. This is a performance chart of the S&P 500 9 sector ETFs. Energy continues to lead, with materials and industrials seeing positive action over the last 5 trading days, as we see here. Utilities were down a little bit lower, so let's take a look and see what happened over those last 2 trading days, Thursday and Friday. And energy, materials, and industrials continue to lead. So let's take a look at our Bollinger Band squeeze scan for the weekend. We'll rank them by sectors, or sort them by sectors. And remember, we're looking at materials, energy, and industrials. So we have a nice list here to choose from. The industrials, airlines, Mikey likes ALK. We have a nice bottoming pattern here off of the lower Bollinger Band. Short-term wise, we have a volume at price level here we need to be concerned with, and we'd like to see some more volume. MACD is already starting to turn, so we're going to keep an eye on that, with stochastics already starting to lead. So airlines, I'd watch all of those. Delta Airlines did fairly well last time. We traded them off of these lows here and moved higher. We're seeing a test down below the 50-period moving average on Delta and a MACD cross coming. Lennox, Raytheon, these names were looking pretty good. Bounce off the 50-period moving average. We've got a Kirby level up here, and we got MACD cross coming. Just need volume. Stochastics looks pretty good as well. ROK, also in the sector on the scan. Rockwell Automation, testing the previous highs. Bollinger Bands is starting to expand, and MACD is giving us a cross. Eastman Chemicals on the scan, testing this triple top here, triple top breakout, decent volume, and a MACD cross with stochastics rebounding off the oversold level. We'll be watching this going into the week to see if we have any follow-through. LYB looking pretty interesting as well after testing the 50-period moving average, decent volume, and we have a MACD cross coming. 3M, Mikey's been keeping an eye on this stock above the volume at price level. Here, gapped up on Friday, gapped up on Thursday. Looking pretty good. Volume is starting to increase, and MACD crossed back above. Keep an eye on Lennox as well. Descending channel pattern here. Huge volume Thursday and Friday as it tested the 50 period off of this lower Bollinger Band, and MACD is turning to the upside with stochastics oversold and moving higher as well. I'll do a little bit more research and maybe post something on the blog later. I won't review all of these energy names, but check out all of the names that we see on here. Many of them have shown up before. Let's take a look at Southwest Energy. Nice bolt higher. This is what the scan picks up. You see a Bollinger Band squeeze inside a Keltner channel. it gives you a forecast of a possible move to the upside. And if you catch them early enough, like SWN was in the list last week, you can catch some of these. I'm not crazy about a MACD cross coming so late and being up here above zero like it is, but it's just an example of what the Bollinger Band squeeze scan picks up. Here's another one on the list for the last couple of weeks. Cimarex Energy has been in this Bollinger Band squeeze going on a couple of months now and starting to look interesting. We got a burst in volume last week. We have a MACD cross coming. So this could get interesting going into Monday, Tuesday trading. Holly Frontier was on the scan on Wednesday. This Tuesday, Wednesday. This candle right here, we had a nice move of $3.50 over a few days. MACD cross, volume. Looks like we're moving above these levels, but I wouldn't trade this until it gives us a flag pattern or something along those lines after already making this move. If you missed the Bollinger Band scan on Tuesday. New Star Energy NS, not something I'm going to trade this week, but it's something I want to keep an eye on with the Bollinger Bands are squeezing really tight. Having seen some really nice pocket pivots here, some volume increases. Stochastics is oversold and moving higher. And MACD looks like it wants to cross to the upside. So this is one I'll just keep on the watch list just to see what it does with regard to all the energy names. Patterson Utility, an energy company, PTEN, was on the scan back here in late February, early March, where it popped up, then it consolidated again, so it's stair-stepping higher. We had a squeeze last week, and we noted that on Thursday and Friday, and now we're moving higher again with a MACD cross and increased volume on P10. Like P10, PVA has been on the list. Penn, Virginia. Note the Bollinger Band squeeze. Note how we stepped up. Similar pattern as we saw on PTEN. I'm going to keep this one on the watch list as well after prices came down and tested the 50-period moving average and bounced higher. All these dividend-paying utilities have been doing quite well. If you watch TNX and their move commensurate with TNX weakness. DTEC, U.S. Holdings, breaking above a little level here of recent highs. MACD's crossing and moving back above zero. We're watching the volume here. This was on a scan last week. WMB, Williams Companies, looking quite well. This short-term little cup pattern here. Bollinger Bands are expanding. We're back above the 50-period moving average and a volume at price level. Like to see more volume, but this is a really nice MACD cross and the kind of thing I like to see where momentum continues to change and move to the upside very quickly. I'd like to see more increased volume here, but this is looking really good. We saw some nice action last week off of the Monday, Tuesday candle, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday where we saw a move above the upper Bollinger Band. I'd look to see this move back into this candle that we saw on Thursday for a possible trade. Some of the real estate names also look pretty good. I saw IYR was doing fairly well. Vornado is one of those names moving above that recent high after being upgraded by whoever it was that upgraded them. I forget off the top of my head. We do see a MACD cross possibly coming, drifting lower. Nice volume. I believe the target was 105 by that upgrade. So that's going to do it for me for the weekend. This is Cousins Mini coming to you from theclosingprint.com. Remember to come check out our blog. For the most part, we try to post these scans every day with some thoughts and charts that we're thinking about trading. This is on Thursday. Remember, we were talking about HFC as we mentioned in the video. Okay, so I hope this helps. Remember to come and check us out at theclosingprint.com, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.